federal court has said a Texas hospital violated the law. A Texas hospital that repeatedly sent a woman who was bleeding and in pain home without ending her non-viable, life-threatening pregnancy violated the law, according to a newly released federal investigation. It says the government's findings, which have not been previously reported, were a small victory for 36-year-old Kyleigh Thurman, who ultimately lost part of her reproductive system after being discharged without any help from her hometown emergency room for her dangerous ectopic pregnancy. Here are some details of her ordeal, and it's just unnecessary and gruesome. So emergency room staff observed that Thurman's hormone levels had dropped, a pregnancy was not visible in her uterus, and a structure was blocking her fallopian tube, all telltale signs of an ectopic pregnancy when a fetus implants outside of the uterus and has no room to grow. So if left untreated, ectopic pregnancies can rupture, causing organ damage and hemorrhage or even death. Thurman, however, was sent home and given a pamphlet on miscarriage for her first pregnancy. How helpful. It's not like you can't Google that stuff. She returned 3 days later, still bleeding, and was given an injected drug intended to end the pregnancy, but it was too late. Days later, she showed up again at the emergency room, bleeding out because the fertilized egg growing on Thurman's fallopian tube ruptured it. She underwent an emergency surgery that removed part of her reproductive system. How is this helpful to anyone or anything or to any agenda, right? It's the same thing like what we've been saying. The people who support all of this, they will say, well, this was the right thing to do. I really can't get into that headspace where I say, you know what, this was good. Send her home with a pamphlet, as if that makes any sense. That doesn't do anything. Even if you know what's going on with you, they're still not gonna do anything about it, right? Even if you know what needs to be done, they're not going to do it. It is very scary being a woman in Texas or in any of these other states that have these very, very restrictive, regressive, archaic, just dumb abortion laws, and say, and even think about having a baby, right? Like I talked about this in a video that I did for Rebel HQ recently. I'm 36 years old. I would like to have a baby. I am terrified to do it in the state of Texas because even if you're healthy, even if you're in prime like fertility mode, like whatever, you have no idea what is going to happen to your body when you get pregnant. And if I don't know what's gonna happen to my body, if my doctor doesn't know what's gonna happen to my body, then like these old ass dudes in like Texas state legislature, they have no idea, right? They have way less idea than most regular average women know about their own bodies because we're not stupid, right? We know what's going on, but it's like what I said, it's not about knowing what's going on or knowing what to do. It's the fact that these doctors cannot do the things that they need to do. So any final thoughts, Maz, before we wrap up the story?
I think you summed it up well. Old white dudes, that's the problem. We need to make t-shirts with old white dudes are the problem, because to your point, they are legislating on your body, and it's just, it's unfathomable. It's really unfortunate that we are where we are. And I'll say it again, elections have meaning, they have results, and we need to be vigilant. Next election, make sure to vote and make sure to educate yourself on what will come with that. And in this case, it's putting women's lives at risk.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's very scary because like I said, a lot of the women now, like they keep telling us that we're supposed to be having babies now. Again, not me. They want more white babies in this country. My husband is white, but my brown, I think, cancels his whiteness out. I'm not really sure how it works for them, but they want more women to have more babies, but they're not making it any easier for women to have babies. And then even if we do get to have a baby, what do we do with the baby, right? There's no daycare, there's no healthcare. Like it's very scary. And then they want to know, also they're firing everybody from their jobs, but also have more babies. So